is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Debate is still raging on whether African football will effectively recover from the coronavirus pandemic. As we welcome you back to live production of Sports Scene, we take a look at the impact of the post-COVID-19 roadmap unveiled by the Confederation of African Football late last month. Hello and welcome to your home of sports news, views and interviews from across the African continent and beyond. This is Sports Scene. And I'm Mahia Mutua in Nairobi. Also coming up, Kenya's men's 1500 meters world champion Timothy Cheruiyot sheds light on his delayed Olympic dream. And we wrap up our special coverage of the 10th anniversary of the 2010 World Cup Finals in South Africa. Welcome to the program. Now, the Executive Committee of the Confederation of African Football made sweeping decisions due to the disruption brought on by the coronavirus pandemic to its calendar late last month. Among the notable resolutions, the Africa Cup of Nations was pushed to the World Cup year of 2022 as the 2020 Africa Women's Cup of Nations was cancelled altogether. CGTN's Adel Mahroui looks at how African football has been impacted.
After its controversial decision to settle the semi-finalist fate of the Champions League and the Confederation Cup in just one match, CAF is reconsidering. Egypt and Morocco have stepped in to offer hosting the games, saving the continental body from unnecessary disputes when the competitions resume this September.
The COVID-19 pandemic has enforced itself over the world. African football had to cope with the consequences. These are unprecedented decisions made by CAF. It's great that the semi-finals and the finals for the club competitions are back to two-leg matches, because not all clubs would have had the ability to perform in one-leg matches, especially when the fields are not theirs.
The surprising move from Africa's football governing body was pushing the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon to the World Cup year 2022. Some football associations, including Egypt's, have welcomed the step, which has somewhat saved their domestic competitions.
CAF's decision has resolved many problems for us. We had concerns about our current season and the titles in the next. The EFA was very keen to resume the current league before beginning next year's. One of the obstacles we faced was the AFCON, which was set for next January, and its qualifications. Pushing the Cup of Nations has freed up the schedule and will make this delayed season finish successfully.
Nonetheless, 2022 will put immense pressure on national teams' players. In less than 2 years, they will have played in the Olympics, 2 AFCONs with the World Cup in between.
For one team to go through all of this puts a lot of physical pressure on the national players. It's definitely an exceptional year. It might have some drawbacks on football.
Many experts believe that CAF may resort to postponing the second AFCON, currently scheduled in 2023. But it will have to play it by ears, though, after Cameroon is over and the World Cup map becomes clearer.
CAF says the African Nations Championship will be played in Cameroon next January, and the Women's Africa Cup of Nations has been cancelled. Adel Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.
Well, earlier we spoke to football expert Marwan Saeed from Cairo, Egypt, to discuss more on the CAF Executive Committee decisions affecting African football, and I started by asking him how staging an Africa Cup of Nations in a World Cup year will impact the continental tournament.
I think everyone's impacted by the current situation we're facing, whether it's in football or whether it's not in football. But regardless, these are circumstances that we have to adapt to. Yes, it will have a small impact, especially on our players playing abroad, because they'll have to travel and from their competitions abroad to come back to Africa to play the AFCON. Then a few months later there's the World Cup. It's going to be a condensed coming 2 years, if I would say. But these are situations that we have to face, really. There's nothing much we can do about, but we have to face it.
And Marwan, among the decisions made by CAF was holding the semi-finals and the finals of the Champions League and Confederations Cup in one venue with single matches deciding the winners there. Is this a fair system?
I think the way CAF looks at it, it's that safety comes first and foremost. So decreasing the number of matches, decreasing the travel, and decreasing the possibility of multiple encounters between the players or staff with outsiders or foreigners, other teams, for example, and such as well, is the right choice at the moment, because nothing at the moment is guaranteed in terms to safety and such. Everyone tries to be safe as much as possible, but in regards of this aspect, as I said previously, it's an extraordinary situation we're living. Even in football, it's an extraordinary thing. It's not just in Africa. We're handling it by playing, for example, one match in the CAF competitions, but for example the Ballon d'Or, there will be no Ballon d'Or, no best player by France Football this year. So again, it's a situation that we're not. It's not ordinary. It's something that cannot be explained. So you have to adapt to it. And I think in terms of CAF's handling the situation, yes, you have to try to finish your competitions as soon as possible, because there's been a period of weeks spent on a break. So you have to make everything condensed, try to begin preparations for the new season, so that your players and staff do not get affected by the continuous preparations and participations in competitions, which will hinder in general the well-being of the players, and it will hinder also any chances for the national teams to have fit players for the continental competitions, which CAF are obliged to protect their national teams, their member associations. And so in terms of many aspects, I think this was a good choice by CAF considering the circumstances we're in.
Marwan, finally, briefly, before we let you go, how would you rate CAF's handling of the coronavirus crisis?
As I said, they handled it in a way to protect their member associations, the players belonging to the member associations, where we have to take a stance when it comes to some things, whether it's fair or not. This is not the ideal platform at the moment we're living, where we can say, okay, this is fair, this is not fair, or did we handle it the right way, or did we handle it the wrong way? We need to think where they're handling it the best way, rather than right or wrong. You cannot put a right or wrong on something at the moment. You just have to adapt and prepare yourself and while doing that, you have to ensure that everything is safe, the players are safe, the people in general are safe, because the coronavirus situation is a very, very serious thing in many countries in Africa and all over the world. Yes, some countries in Africa are not facing the same problems as others, but if I may speak about Egypt, for example, it's a very, very populated country, over 100 million people. You have the chance of contracting the virus much more easier than several other countries. So it's something serious, and this is what CAF have to be looking at when making their decisions, how to protect everyone, have to ensure that all safety measures are being taken care of, and that everyone comes out of this period as safe as possible, until at least there's a vaccine, for example. Then things start to get back to normal, but this will not be, things will not go back to normal, I think, before 2 years or so.
Football analyst Marwan Saeed speaking to us live a bit earlier on from Cairo there. Now let's get you a brief recap of the key decisions on post-COVID-19 football made during the CAF Executive Committee video conference meeting on the 30th of June. Well, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. Here's what's coming up on Sports Scene. Kenya's men's 1500 meters world champion Timothy Cheruiyot sheds light on his delayed Olympic dream.
How will your world change today? What happens here? What happens there? Or what you make happen for yourself? If it matters to you, it matters to us too. Your stories are the stories that need to be told. Africa Live. Find your voice.
The postponement of the Tokyo 2020 Summer Games to 2021 forced athletes across the world to defer their Olympic dream. Kenya's Timothy Cheruiyot was aiming to add the Olympic men's 1500 meters gold to the world title he won last year, but now that has to wait. CGTN's Mohamed Abubakar has more.
Barring disaster, this was to be the world men 1500 meters title holder Timothy Cheruiyot finally made his Olympics debut at the Tokyo 2020 Summer Games. However, his cherished dream has to wait after the Olympic Games were deferred to 2021 due to the coronavirus crisis.
Of course, I would have loved for it to be held this year because I am currently at the top and had prepared really well for the Games. But decisions have been made and I can only hope that it can still happen next year because I missed out on Rio 2016 and I would not want to miss out on another Olympics.
Besides the postponement of his dream event, Cheruiyot has also had to deal with nationwide shutdown of sporting facilities and the ban on international travel that are part of Kenya's measures to contain the virus. The lockdown, however, has not dimmed his determination to stay fit.
I have continued training hard as I still have the hunger and motivation to win more. I know that being a world champion is not easy and it is even harder to maintain the title. So even as we deal with the current global health crisis, my focus has been solely on training.
Cheruiyot's mission now is to defend his Diamond League title when the delayed outdoor season kicks off in August.
I need to maintain my Diamond League trophy. I need to go for another for fourth time. So I'm trying to train hard and focus on it.
The Kenyan is among those tipped to attempt to break the long-standing men 1500 meters world record set by Moroccan great Hicham El Guerrouj of 3 minutes and 26 seconds ran 22 years ago.
The record will come, but it needs time. You don't just wake up and say, I am going to break the world record today or this season. Let us just be patient. At the right time, the record will come.
Cheruiyot is scheduled to launch the title defense of his Diamond League title at the Hercules meet in Monaco on the 16th of August. Mohamed Abubakar, CGTN, Nairobi.
Let's head to West Africa now, where the Chinese embassy in Burkina Faso has equipped the capital Ouagadougou with a fitness center to help locals practice and keep in shape during the COVID-19 period. The initiative is part of celebrations marking the second anniversary of the restoration of diplomatic relations between China and Burkina Faso. CGTN's Asta Tal reports.
The city of Ouagadougou has added a fitness center thanks to a donation by the People's Republic of China. The $68,000 sports facility is equipped with state-of-the-art equipment. It is meant to strengthen the relationship between the two countries.
The Chinese embassy in Burkina Faso has offered this gift to mark the second anniversary of the restoration of diplomatic relations between our two countries. It is a sports facility with a lot of equipment that are easy to use, and above all, we chose the site well. It was a stadium that already existed and was open to young people, and we installed the sports equipment that we ordered from China. This beautiful achievement was born just before the second anniversary of our relationship.
Since 2018, the People's Republic of China and Burkina Faso has renewed their relations, and the relations today influence the city of Ouagadougou. There was a lack of fitness and weight training equipment to complement what was already on site. If you take a walk around the field, whether it's very early in the morning or in the evening from 5 p.m., you'll notice that a lot of people are coming around the field to do exercises.
In order to stay in shape during the COVID-19 pandemic, the World Health Organization recommends physical activity of at least 30 minutes for adults and an hour for children and adolescents. The sport complex offered by China is aimed at bridging this gap and giving locals a chance to exercise regularly.
I think it's a great initiative on the part of China to offer us this sports equipment. It allows us to train every night, and it makes us really feel good.
I'm very happy with the initiative of the Chinese, who came to install the sports equipment for us. Each day, from 6 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., I come here to do sports. Before they came to install this equipment, we'd do it on tar, which was very risky, and the advantage is that it's free. There are places where you have to pay to use these kinds of training equipment. We local residents are pleased that China is offering us these facilities. Sports is important, especially for us in our old age.
I think it's a good initiative. Frankly, it's because of this material that I wanted to get back into the sport. I had completely given up on sports, but since I saw those inhalations, I've taken up the sport again. For some time now, I've been training here every evening from 6 to 8 p.m., and it's been a lot of fun for me.
The sport complex also includes a gym, an ice cream parlor, small shops, and a solar-powered water tower. Other similar projects are underway in Burkina Faso with the help of the Chinese embassy. Asta Tal, CGTN.
It's time to take another short break, but still to come here on Sports Scene. We wrap up our special coverage of the 10th anniversary of the 2010 FIFA World Cup Finals in South Africa.
You don't find the stories of North Africa by sitting on the sidelines. You've got to get out, go there, and you'll find them. In the bazaars of Casablanca. Among the crowds in Cairo.
Who come to visit Cairo, the ancient capital of Egypt.
Along the waters of the Nile. Along the sands of the Sahara. No one else will take you where we can in North Africa. No one else will show you what it's all about. CGTN, see the difference.
earlier this month, Africa marked a decade since the first ever FIFA World Cup final was played on its soil as Spain edged the Netherlands 1-0 to lift the coveted trophy in Johannesburg. CGTN CS du Plessis was among the battery of international journalists who covered the historic tournament and now shares his memories of working as a reporter at that World Cup.
I still can't believe that 10 years have gone by since that amazing time in South Africa. Many people who I speak to about that special event wish that that feeling could be bottled and then released into the air whenever the Rainbow Nation is going through a tough time. I'll do my best to explain how incredible it was to be a part of and what it meant for South Africa then and now.
The 2010 FIFA World Cup.
After the host bid announcement in 2004, the build-up to the tournament was rife with speculation and doubt about South Africa's ability to host the World Cup and that it should be moved to another country. But as the tournament neared, 5 new stadiums were built and others refurbished, international airports upgraded, and the country's infrastructure given a much-needed boost. Reporting on the readiness of stadiums, squad announcements, team arrivals, covering training session and the matches was all a blur as the cold weather gripped the country, but it certainly did not dampen the spirits of everyone involved. Kickoff on June 11th saw 90,000 packed into the FNB Stadium. There wasn't a free seat. Simphiwe Tshabalala's goal sent the Rainbow Nation into celebration, and those who could not be a part of the opener watched on from fan parks all over the country, while the rest of the world were glued to their television screens. Hundreds of broadcasters representing 70 countries broadcast the event to a cumulative audience of over 25 billion, an average of 400 million per game. All eyes were on South Africa, including the doubters and skeptics, who soon realized they were wrong all along. As the tournament progressed, the unrelenting cold weather continued, but the feeling of togetherness and celebration continued. Even after the hosts were knocked out, fans from all over the globe came in their droves to support their teams. The greats Diego Maradona and his star-studded Argentina had thousands turn up to training sessions. Ronaldo and Portugal had mass followings, while the Dutch and Spain flew under the radar off the field. Thousands of journalists covered the event and packed the press conference venues pre- and post-games.
It's the clash between Germany and Uruguay and Port Elizabeth. But
work continued, whether in studio at the SuperSport HQ in Johannesburg or at the venues, as the tournament reached its business end. There was heartache for Ghana as they crashed out, leaving Africa's hopes of a first-ever winner in tatters as drama swirled around the Black Stars' controversial exit. The fans continued to pour into the stadiums and show their support for the beautiful game until the final. In the end, the curtain came down on a stunning, seamless and near-perfect event under the stars on yet another freezing winter night. The late great Nelson Mandela, in his final public appearance, waved to the capacity crowd in a standout moment of nation building. Africa had been done proud.
It may not have been the conclusion that Africa would have wanted, as Spain were deservedly crowned champions here at Soccer City on the night of July 11th. But it is an event fondly remembered for an unforgettable experience that has changed lives, lifted a nation, and set the tone for the rest of the world to follow. Therefore, I am proud to say I was there for Africa's first ever World Cup. CS du Plessis, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Indeed, an unforgettable tournament, not just for CS du Plessis, but also for South Africa and the rest of the continent. Well, one of the African teams that was expected to do much at South Africa 2010 World Cup was Côte d'Ivoire. However, the Elephants failed to advance to the knockout stages after finishing third in Group G with 4 points. Ivorian football fans and analysts in Abidjan shared their memories on the 10th anniversary of the unforgettable tournament. CGTN's Wilkista Nyabwa brings us more.
This group of Ivorian fans experienced the World Cup live in South Africa. They were among the 100 supporters who accompanied the Elephants to the 19th FIFA World Cup in South Africa. They had high hopes in their team and its talented players who were tipped to go far on African soil. But what went wrong as a star-studded Côte d'Ivoire were knocked out in the first round?
At the World Cup, matches were often played on details. Côte d'Ivoire did not have the necessary experience. Côte d'Ivoire's opponent for the World Cup was Japan, who were excellently prepared. And there were the favorites, the great Brazil. Even though Didier Drogba made history by scoring a goal against Brazil, it was not enough to take Cote d'Ivoire past the first round.
Since 2010, we've been trying to find out why the Elephants came out of the South African World Cup prematurely. Every time we meet Drogba and his teammates, we keep asking them why they were eliminated early.
Despite the setback, Ivorian fans who travelled to South Africa returned home with priceless memories.
Against Brazil, people saw that Cote d'Ivoire produced most of the entertainment, and so they decided to prevent us from entering the stadium with our drums and vuvuzelas. Everything we used to cheer pushed our national team to victory. As they scattered, we stayed together in one place so that we could be able to cheer to the nest. That day, I cried because I saw it as a humiliation. They prevented us from doing what we bought the plane ticket for.
My idol was Cristiano Ronaldo, and we were in the same pool as him. So I begged my president and said, even if two fans have to go to South Africa, make sure I am one of them. The reason? I wanted to see Ronaldo with my own eyes. My trip to South Africa was a great adventure, a great memory for me.
The match that impressed me the most was the Cote d'Ivoire match against Brazil. Because of that match, everyone watched it. Why? Because they said Brazil is the best in the world in football. Cote d'Ivoire at that time also had players who played like those of Brazil and could even beat the Brazilian team.
Ivorian fans remain proud of the Elephants despite their early elimination at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. These and other supporters around the continent hope Africa will host another World Cup in their lifetime. Volkisanyabwa, CGTN.
And that's all we have for you on this edition of Sports Scene. Thanks for watching. Do remember you can get in touch with the program, send your feedback to the contacts on your screen now, and follow us on our digital media platforms. I'm Mahe Mutua. From myself and everyone here, thanks for watching. We leave you with images of our highlight of the week, where Liverpool players and staff celebrated lifting the English Premier League trophy after ending a 30-year wait for the title on Wednesday.